The way it works, we have a hot water holding tank that provides the hot water for the pasteurizer, and we pump the hot water in from the top and the product from the bottom, and it's a tube-in-tube pasteurizer. If you look at these tubes, there's an outside tube and then there's an inside tube. Yeah. So the outside tube holds the water, the inside tube holds the product. We pump the product in from the bottom and the hot water from the top, and they go in the same tube, counter to each other. So the coldest water comes out at the bottom and the hottest juice comes out at the top. The hot water goes in the top, cold water comes out at the bottom, cold juice goes in from the bottom, hot juice comes out from the top. In this particular unit, we have a hot holding line. So once we come out hot, we go inside the coil and let the juice run for another 6 seconds until we come out at the bottom. At the bottom, we have 2 valves. One is our production side, so when the juice is hot enough, it will go off into production. In this particular case, we run through a metal detector and then up over into the bottling line. If the juice is too cold, we close this valve, we open this one, and the line goes back into our holding tank from where we repasteurize. That's kind of the system. The hot water is provided from an external water source, which is our 2 wall-hung boilers, but it could be any hot water source, and we call the heat on demand from our PLC here. So these are our wall-hung boiler. You turn it on. Down below here, there's a switch, an on-off switch. Once it's on, it gets the signal from the pasteurizer to the boiler, and it says turn on when it needs to turn on, turn off when it needs to turn off. So all you have to do in the morning is turn it on, and in the evening, after everything's shut down, turn it off. Yeah, everything else is set. Both run at the same time. So for bigger systems, we have 2. For smaller system, we just have 1. But this is a medium system. We need 2. Depending on how much heat we need, that's how much heat we're gonna get out of it. In general, what we can set up is our water temperature from the boiler, so we can tell the water how hot it needs to be. We can set up our pasteurization temperature, and you can see that here. We can set the set points. So there's the actual, and this is the set point. So we set this to 83 Celsius pasteurization, which is our temperature that comes out at the top. And the water temperature we set to 90. And what it actually is 86 and 82 right now. Then we have a holding time. So that is after the holding time, we have a temperature of 52. So for example, if we would start the unit now, our back valve would be open and we would run back into the juice, and you can see that as indicated on this. So if these turn green, that means they're activated. So in this case, I set the pasteurizer up for 750 liters an hour, and I can start the process. And you will see that my HC pump, which is my pump that pumps the hot water into the coil, is running. My product pump is running, and my back valve, meaning the valve that pushes the juice back into the holding tank, is open. As soon as this temperature changes to my set temperature, you will see the outlet valve open and the product will go into the filler. So I can also change the speed here. I can set it to 1,000 liters. And you can see now how the temperature in our hot holding starts to change. So that's a temperature sensor that sits right by the 2 valves, and it's starting to reach my set temperature. And once that is reached, you will see these 2 switch over. So now I'm actually running juice, well, in this case in the drain or into our production line. It's very, very easy to run. This is really going to be determined by the speed of the filler. So if we fill really fast, we need to go faster here. Yeah. In relation to the filler, if we fill 1,000 liters an hour and the filler has to stop for some reason, the product goes into our filler. And on our filler, we have a little level sensor, basically just a tube.
Yeah.
And it measures how full this is. And when it's full, it will turn off the pasteurizer. Stop it. Otherwise, this would overfill, right?
Yeah.
So that's the feedback that the pasteurizer gets from the filler. It says, oh, I'm full, stop. If we look at the display, we have the pasteurizer display. We can go into different modes. The cleaning mode, which gives us cleaning display. And it's basically, we can set the temperature, the total cleaning time, and how many seconds these valves are open and closed, which means how much cleaning solution we send each to the back valve or the normal production valve together. And it just runs for 30 minutes, and after that it'll turn off. The service button is basically some background information. We can choose the language. We can manually activate all of these pumps. So if I start the product pump, which is the black pump, the blue pump down here, you can see that it starts and the back valve opens automatically so that we don't deadhead it. The heating pump is the black pump that pumps the hot water in. It can be manually activated as well. And then we have the outlet valve or the back valve, which we can also manually activate. So we unlock it, we open this one, or we run the heating pump, we're locking it. And then we have a data logger. So these units are supplied with a data logger, and it logs all the temperatures as well as the valve position. So for your health authority, they want to know, if I'm not at temperature, what do the valves do? Is the outlet valve open, or the inlet valve, or the back to the tank valve open? And that gives you a true or a false, so open or close. And then up here is the set temperature, the pasteurization temperature, which is at the end of the pasteurizer, or the hot holding temperature, which is at the end of the hot holding loop. And then you can transfer this data, very simple. You have a USB stick, you can stick into your port here, and then you can find your SD card and you go to your data logging, refresh, data logging, refresh, log files, refresh, refresh. And then you have your individual date and file, which is a CSV file. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You can go to your USB 1. If you stick a stick in there, it'll show up, and you simply just transfer the data over.